This is somewhat different from the first game in the sense that you have to actually boom here for the 40 minutes as you would ideally boom in a no rush 40 game. Whereas in the first game, which was a blitz mode, you had your entire eco set up and you just had to concentrate on fighting right now. Fighting. So
Hmm.
gather your resources, don't delete villages.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but wait, maybe we should wait a bit with deleting our TC because we don't want to give France an insta trickle because that's has way more impact than instant echo theory, and we're not blocking off any hunts with RTC, so yeah, we should wait with deleting them.
Yeah, okay. So, uh,
So yeah, now
but I, uh, I,
give. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I'm not sure whether we are supposed to check for mines or not, but I think Mongo had somewhat disadvantage of mines here compared to Faraj because Mongo only has 3 mines in near to his base, while Faraj has 5, while Mongo's fourth and fifth mine are somewhat far.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we are supposed to check this for a treaty.
I mean, it's yeah, it's okay, I think.
Uh, so we are fine without doing a rehost, right?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay, so just give me a minute. I'll ask the admin here.
I think it's a, to be honest, I think it's okay though, because they're all kind of close,
Okay, so
like not that much of an issue, especially considering like, I don't know, if he sends villagers here to gather that coin, he can put them on wood after and just build mills
okay,
like here kind of, I don't know, it should be fine from my
okay,
point of view.
okay. So okay, so we are going forward with this game, I think. Yeah. Okay. So let me know when we should delete our villagers. Okay.
Yeah, should keep them a bit. Can I? Yeah, you can see the XP up there.
Okay.
Wait, let me check how much. Yeah, we should wait a bit.
Okay. So first couple of games they were actually blitz, so there was not so much about boom to discuss. But now since this is a full-fledged boom game, uh, let's discuss something about booms of both the civilizations.
All right. Um. So the thing about France on patches, like uh the how's it called, fur trade becomes your H1 food gathering card, like the 15% I think,
Okay.
after you send it, which
uh,
means you basically have a lower food gathering rate up until the point where you send trade, which is, of course, if you look at it, like the longer the game goes, the more of a disadvantage it should be. I guess it really comes down to like how good his boom is going to be, because you can still get out like a lot of coin. Like I think, I don't know, he should be he should at least get 150k in his trade this game. Like, question is, will he be able to maybe get like 180 or something?
180 coin after 4 trade.
Yeah, he should trade. I think he should trade like minute 39, I
Okay.
suppose. Yes.
Okay. When I play France, that is on this map, so I like to trade at 39:20 because then it takes exactly 40 seconds for the
Yeah,
shipment to
exactly.
come. So you have 5 minutes for the.
Let me just tell him.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, basically he has his first shipment now.
Okay. Yeah.
We might be able to delete it now.
Yeah. Both the players have sent the eco theory right now. So
All right, yeah, we can delete him now.
okay.
Oh yeah. Wait, he sent Eco Theory?
Yeah, he sent eco theory.
Mongo too?
Yeah, but yeah, Mongo too.
Okay, then keep your TC because if we delete him now, he's gonna get trickle earlier.
Okay.
Wait, does he even have trickle? Yeah, he does. Okay, now from checking Mongo's deck, he's missing one plantation card.
Okay. Just let me open
Um,
it. He's missing the H1 plantation card, I think.
which is a huge deal when we
Yeah,
consider
yeah, he doesn't have the foot trickle card as well.
the food card. The food H2 card is a trade. Like trade will turn into it.
Sorry?
Or what did you say? The end of your sentence got cut off.
Yeah, he doesn't have the foot trickle card. The H1 foot
Ah,
trickle card, Mongo.
yeah, but you don't use it. Like I personally, like I think you just use one trickle card, and
Okay.
that's gonna be always wood if you have wood, because wood is like the hardest resource to gather,
Right.
or the slowest.
Okay. One of the interesting card here he has is the church card actually. I mean, it gives 10% economic boost, right? After
20.
20.
And it raises building cost by I don't know, 40%. Was it 40? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
let me just check it 1 second.
I think it's 40. Um, yeah, it's a must-have card. Like you need it.
Okay. So this
It's
is one of
basically like it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is basically one of the difference from the reversion of the game and the treaty patch. On reversion, you wouldn't usually use the advanced church card, but as on the patch, it gives you huge economic, that is 20% of economic advantage. You usually use this. This is a must card actually, like you said.
Yeah, but even though on Re I use it as well because it's just like 20% more 20% more eco. Like it gives your trade such a huge boost that I think it's really worth it. Even though buildings become a lot more expensive on Re, they get like 50% extra, so a stable is 300 wood, which really hurts, and a plantation 1.2k. But you try to get down your start FB and your mills and all your plantations as soon as possible, and then you just send it. And then I think it's a must-have card.
Okay, so now I'm looking at the changes here, and Code Napoleon actually gives you a 10% food gather rate. Uh,
Ah, okay.
It was initially 10% to all resources, but later down it was nerfed to only 10% food. And it increases your building cost by 20% instead of 50% on reversion of the game.
20%. Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a good card because having 10% extra food is basically going to give you, uh, I think the conversion rate is 12.5 or 15%, right, for the fort rate.
I think it's 12.5, like 100k food or
Is 125k coin.
125, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, for 100k food, if you have that card and if you gather, uh, let's say even 10k extra food, that is 10%, you're easily going to get 2.5, 12.5k more coin.
Yeah, 1 point. Like just out of that card, it's gonna be like 1 point.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 12k, 12k. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. So the boom is okay. There's a bit of a lag here, and if it continues, then I'm not sure, we might have to quit. But okay, it has been settled now, and as of now, there is no lag. So basically, even the third card is out for Mongobillion. Shall we delete our TCs right now?
Even sorry?
The third card, Refrigeration, is out for Mongo as well.
Oh yeah.
So let's delete the TCs now.
Oh yeah, yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so I was saying that the booms are fairly simple for both the civilizations. Just go to age 3 as fast as possible, get the 3 TCs, macro your villagers so that you have enough food and coin to go to age 4 and then age 5. and maximize your villages as fast as possible here. Although one thing here is that both the players have 2p natives here, which gives you cheaper buildings. So, do you think that France should take this native upgrade before building his 3TCs, or he should
Nah,
just build with?
it, yeah, it delays you too much. I would get the cheaper building. I would only get it maybe with Brits, maybe for Dutch, Japan for sure.
Okay,
But other than that, I don't really think it's worth it because the 200 wood is not even that much of a deal. It's like the 175 food and coin that comes on top of it that just makes it too expensive and basically slows down your TCs. I mean, they become cheaper, but they're like you'll have them later. So
okay.
yeah, I would get 2Ps when aging to H5 before you build all your mills and plantations and houses and.
Okay, that makes sense here right now. Uh, so,
To be honest, it's quite unfortunate that they start with 2P and not with Maya when we look at French.
yeah, because they would be having a food gather rate bonus here, right?
Yeah, and another,
Ten
I don't
percent.
know. Like now, looking at it, I don't think France is particularly strong at this like in Norwich 45
Okay,
because like everything, I don't know, it doesn't synergize well. Like the trade has been balanced kind of for Norwich 40, so kind of yeah, it's more of a nerf than a boost. Like the longer the game goes, I think, because they miss out on the late game.
okay.
Um, and when it comes to like the church card, you need to use it as soon as possible to get the echo boost. On the other side, you will have to FB after 30 minutes when you've already sent it, so your whole FB is going to be more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that is some kind of nerf for France here. So that basically means that they have to invest more wood in making the FB and everything. Uh,
Yeah, which really sucks since you basically want to spend as less time gathering wood as possible, since
yeah,
you want to have as much food as possible.
yes, exactly. So Portuguese player is almost age 4 right now, and this is a pretty good time to hit 11 minute 40 seconds as Portuguese to age 4.
Yeah, he's doing a good
Yeah,
job gathering his resources. He should maybe start to slowly shift these villagers over to the next hunt and
yeah.
hurt them a bit earlier
S-
to reduce
Wagon
time
getting
walking.
stuck here for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think? Will he be able to get to H5 on these hunts, whatever hunts he has remaining here? The hunts in the base have basically dried up, and he has this two hunt
Yeah,
here.
it's enough for sure.
Okay, because okay, they give 500 food.
Yeah, he gets like 3 extra herds in the starting herd. That's the exact amount I think ports need. And those herds are even bigger than they are usually on Orinoco.
Okay,
The start herd is for sure. So yeah, it should be fine.
one of the thing here different from the first map we saw here is that the crossing here is actually quite big. I would probably say it's double the size of what we saw in the first game. So
Mm,
so although Mongo won't be able to run like or jump like he did in the second game, but one of the things that Faraj would have to take care here about is the flanks and not
for sure, yeah.
yeah. So what I think is that gendarmes here, I mean, they would not ideally be a good choice to spam them in native warfare, but they if Mongo can get good flanks, then they would probably be more effective than the first game. And
That's I totally agree, but I have to add that like there are no Incas on this map, so you don't have 26 anti-cavalry natives. You just have 15, and Mayas are okay, I guess, but they're really not as good as Incas.
okay,
And you also don't have like the fast training
fast
you
training
need
yet.
to. to deal with cavalry as like to defend cavalry flanks as fast as he might be used to.
So in the
So
first
yeah, it's they might be even more effective basically.
Yeah. So in the first game, we saw that Faraj was basically a full Cazador population with natives. He spammed few goons at some points, but for most of the game, he was focused on Cazadors and Culverines, Mortars, and the rest of them were natives. So what different he has to do on this map here than the first game?
Well, he for sure has to make sure his towers are placed like more efficient, so they
Okay.
actually like deal damage to cavalry flanks. He might need to pay more attention to walling off the sides. I mean, he walled a lot in the cliff game, like way too much for my taste. But I think kind of he should kind of wall put more walls on one side. I think to kind of narrow to kind of create a choke, if you know what I mean,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
he doesn't want the whole spread out fight against Mongo, because then I think Faraj might lose out on Cold Wars because Mongo is kind of better with moving around the map. I mean, it's not moving around the map, but it's sometimes, if it's a 1v1 Orinoco and you have like those hardcore Orinoco players which really love to just never move their screen, um, then you can just easily win against them by just spreading the fight. Yeah.
Okay, so Mongo has almost 80% reached to H5, while Faraj clicked into H5 about just a few seconds ago. He was floating more than 4K resources, but he clicked in a bit late. So while Faraj had an impressive H4 timing, he would be somewhat late to H5, and
Yeah,
in my opinion,
he
the
should have been.
yeah, in my opinion, the ideal time to reach H5 as Portugal is somewhere between 15 minutes to 15:30, when you don't have to mills before going to H5. He's probably going to be late by almost a minute or minute and a half here. While Mongo,
Yep.
while Mongo had a good timing with France, in my opinion, to H5.
Yeah, I agree. And you also have idols
Idle,
here, which
yeah,
shouldn't be happening. You should always shift click them to trees. I
yeah,
mean, you can't. I still don't do it always, but if I don't do it, I make sure I retask them as soon as possible, and they don't stand around
yeah.
for. Yeah,
One
they
of
were idle for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, one of the thing that I mean annoys me or whatever it does is when I actually see my idle villager. So even if when I'm fighting, sometimes like I'll lose 5 culverins and but I have to retask the villagers as soon as I see them
Yeah,
idle.
same goes for me. Yeah, that's highest priority for me. Yeah, I think that's the correct way to see it, because your economy is your basis.
Yeah, yeah, but it is not really good losing 5 culverins.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, of course not. But you should like I don't know, instead of spending time to micro the coves offensively, maybe just pull them back for 5 seconds. Make sure your idle
Villagers are retasked.
villagers are working. Yeah, and then you can return to your coves, since you
Yeah.
should have them hotkeyed in most cases anyways. So it's gonna be easy.
Okay. So both the players are to H5 right now, and both of them would be looking to make economic buildings like mills and plantations, get the capital upgrades, which are 50% economy upgrades. Both of them have their factories up, and both have it on wood,
Wood. Yep.
yes, and both have taken the native upgrade as well.
The
Uh,
native, you mean?
yeah, the native upgrade here, this one
Oh yeah, yeah,
for the
yeah.
cheaper buildings.
Yeah, yeah.
And as Mongo will be only gathering food till he does the fur trade, which will convert all of his food into coin, Mongo has decided only to send the food cards, while Faraj would be sending all his economic cards, including plantation cards as well.
Which is a reason why in No Rush. Okay, I guess it's the same when it comes to Blitz. But this is why France, like another reason why France has an edge in this matchup. Like, you don't just have 20 more pop to go
You
with
have
any
a ship,
stronger.
yeah, but one of the difference I would like to point out from Blitz is that in Blitz you won't be actually sending the Royal Mint card, but in the normal boom you have to send the H3 Royal Mint card.
When I play French, I don't. I don't know. I'm not a professional France player, but I think you don't have to.
I usually
I
send it, and Mongo has also
I've
sent
had a
here right now.
I've had a 2.6 K boom like one or 2.5 K
Okay.
boom once, which is I think okay. I don't
Yeah.
know. We guess gotta ask Floco how he does it.
Yeah. Okay. So how about we take a 5 minutes break before the fighting actually starts?
Sorry.
How about we take a 5 minute break before the fighting actually starts?
You mean in break until then? Sure.
Yeah, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll be back as well then.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All right.
Okay, so welcome back, everyone. The treaty has almost finished, and as we can see, we have few villagers from Faraj as well as few villagers from Mongo here, which are cutting the wood on the crossing so as to make space for building walls, which he has already started building, as well as to make space for the FB and to prevent any enemy units from going to your base basically. Here Faraj has also got a couple layers of protective wall at the back here, while Mongo has no such wall as of now. Claw, are you back? Okay, so my co-caster is not back yet. We will wait for him. And Mongo's side is cleared while still there is one tree left on Faraj's side here. Mongo has about 26k coin and 71k food. Mongo is gathering food only because he will be using for trade, which would effectively change all his food into coin uh, by a percentage of 12.5. So basically, for every 1,000 food he for trades, he will be getting 1250 coin. And as food gathers faster than coin on meals, it is a good idea basically to gather food because then you will be gathering more food than you will be gathering coin, and after doing four trade, which will give you 12.5% more coin, basically you will be gathering more resources than you would normally gather food and coin.
Yo, I'm back.
Oh, hey back, hi back, hi there.
um, yeah, that's why I think it's a good idea with friends to really to send like all villagers on mills as soon as you can, and make and actually even gather like the biggest part of your wood after you trade.
Okay,
Um,
so
I heard that's how um people have been improving their trades with France.
yeah, even personally, I think that 27k at this point is a slight too much for France. I mean, he can just live two villages from start here and clear up the entire forest he had here. And then once he
Yeah,
does,
okay, it was a big forest though. He might have need to send more, but
okay, so three or
4 or 5 villagers
four,
is
five
okay.
villages, and maybe even keep your factories on food.
Mm, I don't know. That's a tough one to decide. I gotta say, because
Or I mean,
if you're
not
if
the
you're
entire
if
time, because you would definitely need them on wood because you need even for imperial upgrades which cost 1500 wood each. But
yeah,
for some time, in order to compensate for having keeping 3 4 villages more on the forest, let's say one factory on food for about 5 minutes.
I guess yeah. I guess you can put him on food for a while. I mean, I do it too. When I play friends to just to improve the trade. I don't know. I like to have like 10k before I trade at least, so I can like instantly do some upgrades. And like the
Yeah.
10k bank, which I like to have when the game starts. Like I'm gonna chop that while waiting for like the 5 minutes before battle,
Yes.
because it just makes more sense if you think of it like every food that is being gathered is being converted into more resources. So
Yes,
why not,
exactly.
yeah, gather as much as you can.
Okay, so coming back to the base here, you can see that Mongo has practically walled on the half map, while Faraj has decided to wall a little bit back here and leave the fight space open here.
To be honest, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, on the reversion of Ori, you would have a shallow river here, so you couldn't wall anything. But on this map, there is a land, so you can actually build here.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know, it's a bit they're a bit too far out, because if you have no space in front of your walls, like where you're gonna put your units. You don't want them to stand in gates because they're gonna get killed by mortar shots.
Yeah. Uh, so Mongo has walled here like you would wall in NR60 or in vanilla game, that is the base version of the game without any expansions, while Faraj has decided to take more of the Asian dynasties approach here.
True, true. Um, I mean, on the one side, by having your walls so far up, it means your FB is also closer, which is good if you want to push.
Okay.
Um, on the other side, you're up against ports, so he can actually mortar his barracks from behind his own barracks, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and those mortars when they take down these walls are going to do some damage to the units caught in this wall
yeah,
gates here.
yeah, I mean, if we even try to ignore that, it's still like not sure if that's a good thing to do against ports. But we will see how well Faraj is able to abuse that, because he should actually, I don't know, you should start with like 8 mortars, or like maybe even 10, and just
Okay.
take down that FB. Because what is he gonna do? Like, he should send maybe the mortar range card pre 45, and like there's no counter to it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be back in 30 seconds, okay?
Oh yeah, me too.
Okay. So Faraj has started making his army here, and the 15 natives from the trading post as well as the 15 native shipment is out for Faraj.
Yeah, to add something
No,
when it comes to the front base layout, I like Faraj's base.
okay,
Um, like the buildings are like perfectly rotated to improve like the pathing of the units. And if
yes,
you look at Mongo's base, you see, like, I don't know, stables behind barracks, and like, I don't know, like the cav will run awkwardly to like get to the front. It's
okay,
not really ideal.
okay. So since building placement it's not such a huge issue. I mean, you need to have a good base. I think rotator mode is allowed in treaty tournament, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Okay. Uh, so
But
he,
I think the weight of it is really underestimated, because especially like a Norwich 40, it can fuck you up so bad. Like, pathing
yeah,
is pathing is very
yeah,
important.
and that's exactly going to be the issue for Mongo here. And I think because the buildings are all aligned very well here, Faraj was able to squeeze in more buildings in the same area
Yeah.
compared to Mongo here.
And I also hope he's gonna build some
Yeah.
backward barracks, because like the front, he has like 4 barracks in the front, which are like, if I was Faraj, I would instantly mortar them down, and the embassies too.
Yeah.
Like, make
The
sure they not.
yeah, the
Yeah.
one thing I like about the Faraj base here is like one, two, three, and four, five, six. Here almost has 8 to 10 barracks in the front, while Mongo has only four. One thing we have to remember here is that we do not have incarnates here. That means we do not have fast production tech here, which means your infantry is somewhat slower. So I don't think 4 barracks are going to be enough to keep up with your infantry production here. And this is what I'm speaking from personal experience, because I just played a game before this tournament, and I had started with 4 barracks and I was not able to keep the skirmisher production even with the 4 barracks. So
Yeah. It will be interesting to see how Faraj plays this, though, because the way he is laid out his base, he could basically just set rally points individually for his
yeah.
barracks, put them all on one hotkey, and like really control the whole. I think 39 and 49, 44.
Okay, but what do you think about keeping up with the production? The thing I just said with 4 barracks.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Especially, what I expect to happen is he's gonna queue skirms and they're gonna get motored away
Okay.
because I don't know if Farage is gonna send a range card earlier than usually, but if I see this, I do so for sure.
So it's something interesting here. The walls are actually open. He has not finished the walls there.
Yeah, that's how I like to keep it too on Ori because like the worst thing that can happen is your artillery dying to how's it called, mortar shots.
Okay, so and Farah also has some good walls on the choke points here as well, and he has about 3 layers of wall before going into the eco. Mongo has done also somewhat similar, although he has gone for, I mean, instead of just blocking of the check, he has done all full walls here. He
Hmm.
has 5 layer of walls behind and 4 layer of walls. So basically, both of the players have walled up pretty good here, and they are I mean, this is going to be
You
a
can
pretty straight heads up fight instead of trying to go into sneaking into the base or anything like that.
true, even though you never know who's gonna try to run
Yeah,
walls around.
yeah. It
I
is
mean, to
one.
be honest,
I'm
I definitely do it because like he has to take care of it. You know, he has to send a few cavalry units to
Yeah,
kill him, and then he has to make sure to send them back in the battle to not to waste pop, and that can sometimes be worth it.
yeah. So Mongo has actually sent his fourth trade here, and it he sent it at 39 minutes, so it arrived at 39:45. And he right now has 145k coin, which is somewhat lower than what you expected, I think.
Yeah, it's I guess not ideal. It's not bad either, but I think it should be more.
Yeah. So no start army from Mungo here. Let's have a look at what a Portuguese player has. So Portuguese has decided to start with 25 Caçadores, 10 Dragoons, 4 Organs, 6 Culverines, 4 Mortars, and about 40 Blackwood Archers, 15 Spearmen, and 12 Cougars from the town center.
That's a solid start army.
Okay. But since his France here and in the first game, as we saw, Mongo liked to Gendam box. I would have liked to see some musketeers here, and
Yeah, well, yeah,
but
probably would even prefer musketeers to Castador since you got so many skirm type units with your natives.
yeah, he
Um,
he has
but I
40 and still he has a shipment remaining, I think.
yeah, I think I personally when playing like actually I do the same with most civs on Orinoco. I think even Mongo is going for something similar. It's smart to basically put all of your main pop into artillery because you got all those walls up at start, and basically all that's gonna happen is mortars trying to get down walls, cannons randomly shooting, and coves try to kill each other, and maybe mortars. You know.
Yeah.
Um, so I think
So
it's good to make like 10 coves, like or eight at
Mongo,
least.
yeah, Mongo is going for a 10 culverin start with
Yeah,
six mortars and 5 horse guns, horse artillery.
that's solid. Even though I'd make more horse arts,
Yeah. Okay.
but it's hard for him to kind of put them somewhere. Where does he want to put them? Because if you're gonna put them behind the walls, they're not gonna deal
Any
any serious
damage?
damage. Yeah,
Yeah.
but if you put them
In the
into the walls,
then
they
mortars are
far
going to
from.
kill them.
Yeah, yeah. I guess here is where you see Farar's Orinoco experience
Yeah. And
compared to Mongo.
yeah, I think this two outposts there could somewhere be here as well because they're not going to do
Yeah,
really any damage here
exactly. I to be honest, I would maybe take off the like the one part of the wall, you know,
and
and
just
make
place two outposts
yeah,
there.
and do the same on both sides. So you basically create a choke in the middle with outposts because you can place your art there. And if he decides to send cavalry on your art, like they're gonna get lots of damage from towers.
Yeah. So once again, Mongo has not made any native army here, while Faraj has full native army. Also, there is something. He has 5 ideal spearmen in the base here.
Oh yeah, that's because of the
Yeah. So let's have a screenshot once again here.
yep. That's because of the patch change to I think I don't know Tupis and or Mayas. Like one of the upgrades gives 5 units.
Yeah, it's Maya. So you have these 5 spearmen which are in the base, and they're not going to do any damage here. So five.
I th-
It,
mm,
it, it is not
I'm
it is not a big deal, as big deal as you would have ideal units because they do not cost any pop. But surely, having them in the fight would have been much better.
yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if we should maybe tell him because it's a change he does not know. Like, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
I don't
the
as a caster, I don't think we should be interfering in the course of the game. It's uh,
I guess I
yeah.
agree.
So the fight has started at the bottom of the map. Here's some culverin fight and mortars being taking down the walls. No unit engagement so far, and Mungo has decided to engage on the top of the map as well. Mortars taking down the wall, while culverins are just trying to attack the stray units which are coming forward. Well, Faraj, as such, is focused on the bottom of the map so far, and he's winning the Culverin war here, uh, from the looks of it. But this gendarmes are now going to come in, and since there is no wall and this is open, uh, they can wipe out his artillery here. But my spearmen are going to neutralize them, and the cougars are also going to do a good job at blocking them. Ah,
Oh, he actually found the Mayas.
yeah, he actually fought a match. So this is the kind of misclicks I'm talking about here. Mongo just moved his entire artillery forward, and five
Hmm.
hussars is going to kill this now. He managed to put it pull it back in time, but
So I guess yeah, the intent of those towers, like the reason why he put them there was to basically tank tower shots, I guess.
yeah. Oh, but
Which
but
they have done, but now he's targeting the FP
yeah, he's targeting.
sooner or later.
Yeah, and the thing basically here is that Mongo has started with more mortars compared to the Portuguese player, and he has basically taken down most of the forward walls for the Portuguese player. And Portuguese player now himself finds open map, so unless he can get like a straight wall in the middle or anything, he's going to be always getting flanked. And even though it is a single crossing, he's still fighting at 2 points. One is here and one is here, so he has to maintain a decent unit composition at both points, something which we have seen Faraj little bit lacks of that, lacks keeping a good unit composition when having to fight at multiple positions.
True.
So although not open map as blitz route as it has been, Mungo is trying to use this map to much of his advantage as much as possible. This culverins here.
Uh,
Cougars could easily kill them.
but the mortars are really doing a good job in taking down the walls and
Yeah,
towers. We just have one tower left, which is gonna fall as well. And now, like, I really like what Mongo's doing, but to be honest, it's still the base that's annoying me a little bit because the stables are just so far back, and he really seems to be working a lot with gendarmes. He's
yeah,
even like scouting the base right now,
yeah, exactly.
which is always a smart thing to do. If it's just one layer, why not petard it and run into echo, you know? Or
Yeah,
maybe he found this weak point here. This is just 2 layers, you know, and if you can sneak through the trees, who knows?
yeah, correct.
Always gotta watch out for the little things. But yeah, he's running in with mortars now, which is a bit bold since he's targeting FB.
Yeah.
And actually, Faraj did not do what I expected him to do. He did not take advantage of his mortars, which is a mistake from my point of view.
He managed to clear a wall here, but he lost those mortars, and he has one mortar in queue right now.
Yeah, but I think wait, let me check. Did he send the mortar card? No, he hasn't.
Okay, so he hasn't sent. So you, in your opinion, on this map, a motor card should be sent before 45, right?
Well, I think if you think that you can gain like significant advantages with it, for sure, which he
Yeah,
should have done at the start fight, because monitoring the first line of FB, especially like the embassies and stuff, is
yeah,
really annoying.
especially when Mongo has walls so forward and his FB is also forward because of that.
Yeah, but right now, if we look at it, I mean, Farage is kind of winning out the art micro wars, but the
I
push is not that bad. The only thing that is really not working out is like the pathing of the cavalry.
Yeah,
He wastes a lot of time.
and idle motors here.
Yeah, which he tasks now, so it's fine.
Mm.
But
So
Faraja is also doing a good job on rewalling.
yes, uh, I'm not sure because I have not seen Faraj play much or I have not played with him much. But he's basically an F55 player. That is the Orinoco player, right?
I think so, but but I think he really prefers Orinoco. Yeah.
So just like we saw again, one of the misclicks from Mongo here, the horse artillery going directly into the Green's units, and it died without firing a single shot.
Hmm. That's unfortunate because yeah, he also seems to struggle. I don't know. It looks like his army is so small, and I think the pathing is to blame. Like if you look at his FB, you see like I don't know 10 or yeah maybe 7 8 curs running in their 3 pop each, which is not really efficient fighting.
Okay.
Like you got to make sure that your units are engaged as
Yeah.
soon as possible.
Yeah, but one thing here that Mongo is doing is constantly trying to take down the FB of the Faraj here, but and Faraj is slightly slow at rebuilding them. As you can see, the walls are also not completely rebuilt right now. But yeah, Faraj seems to be winning the fight here right now.
Yeah, he has drained Mungo for 200 points.
Yeah,
Faraj is staying stable.
stable, yes. I for Mongo is trying to go for a very. I mean, you usually have a lot of cavalry like hussars or gendarmes when you are trying to push very hard, and this is something what Mongo is trying to do. But like what I said earlier, Mongo doesn't have enough barracks to, I think, keep up with the skirmisher population. And as you can see, his skirmisher population was ha- it just died basically, and he had to remass it now.
Yeah, this is looking like right now it's looking good for Mongo with his front stable. He also fixed the pathing issue, but I don't expect that stable to survive for long since I already see a mortar which was made for killing
Yeah,
it. He just has to task it,
yeah,
which he did now. Yeah,
yeah. But
so
just
he
a
could
few,
crack with coals.
yeah. But just a few seconds ago, here Faraj did, sorry, Mongo did a good job. Basically, took out 4 culverins of Faraj using just 2 culverins of his own, and losing zero in the process.
True, yeah, but that was all. I think you have to say that was due to miss micro of
Faraj, yes, that I
Farage.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah. But still, that's a small win for Mongo there.
true, yeah. What I lack is it's the same as in the Blitz game, in the Blitz Cliff game. He does not really use artillery. Like he keeps up the how's it called cold production, but
Yes.
what's like why would you ever wage war with coals if there aren't any cannons up? I don't see the reason.
Yeah, so basically he has like 3 culverins here. More of them are on the way, and I mean Mongo is clearly winning the culverin war right now. So he's in really good position to have 5 cannons out here, which would completely destroy this infantry composition of Faraj.
True, but he doesn't.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
And yeah, now what you said also comes to play. Like I don't know, he keeps on sending gendarmes from back from back there.
Yeah,
Even though he has a front stable, his skirm mass is pretty inconsistent. Like
yeah.
sometimes he has it up and then it vanishes again. which
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
He also managed to get a stable up here, very in the walls of green.
that's nice, but it's gonna go down
It's
pretty
go-
soon. And now he's full goon. This is where you really gotta make your Mayas do work.
yeah. And one of the thing is that these goons have 20 range, so they are somewhat more I mean, but they're not effective against skirmishes, but they somewhat do a better job at them compared
Yeah,
to,
they don't die as much to
yeah,
them as other goons do.
yeah.
Since they don't walk up.
So basically, Mongo here is just using mortars from the flanks here, and he had a few mortars here. He's trying to take down the FB of Faraj. He knows that Faraj is somewhat slow at multitasking and revolving, doing the FB again, and still having to fight. It's somewhat a difficult job, and this is his weakness. So he's trying to keep his opponent on his weakness, and using it to his advantage here.
Yeah, I really like that. But
Do you, what do you think about Mungo getting a wall up here so that, as you can see, these two culverins died to few hussars here. They don't die. He can basically get some rectangular box up here to protect his units.
yeah, I think I mean he tried with one wall, but he didn't manage. But he also has Vilds around, so like Vilds running around there. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's doing it now.
Yeah. So these cannons are out here, but I would say the timing is somewhat not good because this is a complete cavalry composition from Faraj here, and uh, cannons are not so much effect these cannons are not so much effective versus cavalry here, and since infantry composition is tightly formed, the damage is much more compared to what you would do against dragoons or hussars.
Yeah, right now we see again smart FB layout coming into work. Yeah, because look, the units they come out of their building and they immediately fight.
Fight, yeah.
When you look at Mongo space, like you got units coming from way back,
Back,
like up here, and like the skirms they walk for so long, and they also share the same rally point, so they all walk up on the same point, and he also has like one tiny ball of units standing in the middle,
yes,
while
exactly. Faraj has a completely spread out army.
yeah, that's nice to see. But he's kind of losing out the Cove War.
Yeah, I would really like Faraj to making some musketeers instead of so many dragoons here actually.
Yeah, I guess I agree.
So both the players are dropping, and while it seems that Mongo is losing, score-wise both have actually dropped equally, about 200 points here. But
Yeah, I
and
think it's really just the pathing and
base how it
the
is built.
yeah, the base and like how the units are spread.
Yeah. So also here that Faraj is somewhat low on coin, 13k. I mean it is not exactly low, but compared to 60k food and 20k wood,
Mm.
it is somewhat lower here.
He also lost 4 coves against 2 because of
Yeah.
a few gendarmes.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, if Mungo can get a wall from here, and then all the year he essentially closes off the flanks of green, and again something similar on this side as well. Then his all the cannons are protected from hussar flanks if any he tries to manage.
Yeah, I wonder though why he decides to go for goons. You don't want to really make goons against goons if the enemy has the best goons in game and more ranged
Yeah,
goons. Why doesn't he just make more skirms? Mix in a few musks so they're not like the
yeah.
noise is not so fragile against cavalry.
Yeah,
Can play with orange.
and here's a green that is Faraj is not making so many hussars as well. So really, you could just
Mm.
increase your skirmisher population, maybe have 10 to 15 musketeers, and the natives they should be enough to kill whatever 5 to 10 hussars Faraj it's sending.
Yeah,
And also when you have like 50 to 60 skirmishers, then well, 10 hussars is maybe too much, but if just 5 hussars come, then it's not much of a big deal, I think.
yeah, I agree. But yeah, we really see Mongo struggling to keep his army
Huh,
up and engaged,
yeah,
and he's also not using how's it called, natives to yeah, he's not using them frequently enough.
yeah.
It's
And
just
he's also not sending his infinite native shipment here, while Faraj is constantly sending infinite 10 musketeers as well as infinite native shipment.
mm, yeah, that's why we see the gap closing.
Yeah, and
It's important with French to really get the main push on. I think like the start push on and to
yeah,
break through. Kind of what he almost managed to do. Like we saw Farage kind of crumbling because
yeah.
of like the setup problems. Like you have your already hotkeyed barracks, and then they suddenly get mortared, and I don't know, that can throw off some players sometimes.
Okay, so
Um,
what I think is that basically when you have like 5 culverines, then 5 horse cannons, 30 skirmishers, and 20 gendarmes, the Mongo is not able to keep the population. But all these units, sometimes 150 population, it all comes at one point, and that is the point when Faraj gets pushed back. But then Mongo is just unable to gain on that advantage. He's not able to keep the population. The natives are not constantly out, and infinite shipment is not being sent as frequently as it should be. So in the end, Mungo just gets pushed back by a more consistent play from Faraj, I would say.
yeah, and he also has like 7, 8 culverins up at a time against a no cannon composition.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess. So
What? Do,
sorry, I guess. Yeah, I guess you need them for killing off mortars sometimes, like in this case especially. But I don't know. You don't want to waste like 30 pop on them,
yeah.
while your main skirm mass is like not there.
But those culverins still do 70 siege damage, so it is probably equal to what skirmishers do, right?
Yeah, but they're 4 pop.
Yeah, that is true. And the rate of fire is also much slower compared to skirmishers.
Yep. Yeah, they're like, if they're not killing cannons, they're bad.
Yeah,
And
I agree with you there. I mean,
there's
yeah,
not a single cannon on the side of Faraj.
yeah,
He's yeah, I don't know, he's doing a pretty well job actually, a pretty good job actually on keeping up his production.
yeah.
His natives are always out, even though his Mayas are idle at the back. You don't want that. You want them
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah. Okay, so Mongo has finally realized the 5 Maya from the base and they're in the
Yeah,
fight.
he found them pretty early. He found them
Okay,
pretty early.
okay, okay, I was not looking at them.
Yeah, he found them I think after a minute or so.
So I think there is a native scout from Mongo here somewhere. I think, sorry, somewhere here. Okay, it's a dog.
Hmm. All right, yeah. So now Mongo dropped below Faraj.
Faraj, and he's dropped 100 points below Faraj here, and he's on 24k coin now. So pretty soon coin is going to run out, and after that point, France cannot really compete in natives here. I mean, keep up the native production, keep up the army production, fight a costly Culverin war as well.
Yeah, and that's why you need to play the artillery game with them, because if you play the artillery game, basically you invest your coin into heavy damage from cannons, and
Yeah,
cannons you try to keep them alive, which
yeah,
means you like in the best case scenario you don't really spend much coin. You basically
exactly.
just try to spam out your natives, have them like engaged as soon as possible. You basically want them to die as soon as possible so you can
Yeah,
remake them. And yeah, basically just have a skirm mass like he's kind of doing now, but Like he already wasted so many resources in with gendarmes, and now those horse art, I don't know.
And he's also not using his explorer and dog, I would say, as frequently as Green is using.
Yeah, and he just lost four horse art for nothing. That was
Mm.
unfortunate. And now
And
he
now,
got 10 culverins. Mm, that's a
and now,
bit much.
yeah, and we are seeing some organ guns from Portuguese player here.
I like that,
Yeah,
even though he didn't really need that, because if you're a port and you're doing a no art fight and you're winning, like,
yeah,
keep on doing it, because your food production is like way better than your gold production.
coin production. Yeah, and I also think that even though France had somewhat 20%, 20 population advantage over Portuguese in terms of military units, the Caçador's 50% range resist is a very huge advantage Portuguese had. So even without artillery fight, conventional just unit fight, Portuguese has an advantage at fighting at range here because of
Yeah,
the 20 range dragoon and so much range tank which Caçadors do.
yeah, that's true.
And you also have three explorers, plus he's also using a dog as well. These three explorers are really, I mean, you can see these scums are basically attacking these explorers here, while this Caçadors dragoons and the army clears up all the skirmishers Mongo has.
And even his cold.
Culverins, yeah, exactly. And as we can see, Mongo is dropping in point while Faraj has actually gone up.
Yo,
So,
yo.
yeah, I'm here. Slight mismicro, I would say, from Faraja running this Culverin into Mongo's gendarmes. S- It's dead now. Still was alive for a long time. So basically now,
Farage actually, he actually rose in score.
yeah, he actually rose in score. So Faraj has three Culverins here, while Mongo doesn't have any Culverins and has only horse artillery. If he doesn't keep an eye on them, he's going to lose all his horse artillery for nothing here.
Yep. That's true, but he's doing it the way I like to do it, like right now, in this moment. He's like fighting with them because the Kolv are not targeting them, but now he should have already pulled them back,
Yeah,
but it's too late. Yeah, you always have to keep an eye on it. Like, that's a lot of gendarmes.
yeah.
But they're, like, right now they're doing work, you know?
Yeah, you should really. Those dragoons shouldn't really get caught in hand combat with those gendarmes here. You should have a few musk or maybe a few hussars in hand
Uh,
combat with those gendarmes and let
no,
dragoons.
yeah, sorry, but I just saw, if you look at the economic unit population,
Yeah.
um, Mongobillione, he's, I think he's going for an all or nothing call. He deleted like half of his builds.
Okay.
And yeah, that's why we see
Yeah.
such a huge army.
Yeah. Yeah. So he has 40 villagers right now, while Faraj has 90. To be honest, but killing 40 villagers when you're not using your natives to their full efficiency isn't going to much work here because Faraj always has his cougar out, he has infinite native shipment out, he has natives out, so it effectively equalizes the population deficit uh, they have. I
Yeah,
in my opinion.
he didn't remake the embassies. He just has one. Uh, I don't know if he's even producing his nets from that one. I mean, it can really be a good call to if you're keeping out all the extra pop you have with natives and stuff and overpop. Um, because if you like fight with a huge army, you can sometimes kind of overwhelm the enemy. Like they don't realize, they fight for a few minutes and then they suddenly realize you're equal in score, and they're like, "What?" Like I've seen that happen a couple of times, but in this case, Faraj was able to withstand.
Yeah, yeah, you can see that Mongo didn't even. I mean, he pushed him.
Yeah, he didn't keep it. He didn't keep it up.
Yeah, yeah,
He didn't keep the pop up. He kind of had one moment where it looked like he would kind of regain control,
yeah.
but yeah,
So he's trying to will up again now, but I think the difference is very huge here. And while I want to call this a point of no return for Mongo, but it's definitely an uphill battle for Mongo here.
yeah. Being on 140 pop with 40 villagers is okay. He decided to remake them, but
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna
yeah, he's going to
be
lose the
enough.
entire FB here, and once these walls are down, there is nothing like a wall from here to here. So basically, it exposes the entire eco Mongo has to Faraj. So instead of taking a direct fight, Faraj can just decide to send a few army units here, few here, and then just raid his entire eco. While
Yeah, at this point, he can basically do whatever he wants.
yeah,
Since, like, I don't know, France is not gonna. He's been on 90 plus villagers, like at all times.
yeah,
So yeah, you can see him. He's taking it slow. He's not on the rush, bringing in builds, building a huge FB.
yeah. So he's not actually making any military unit right now, although he's only on 50 military population.
His nets from that one. I mean, sometimes it can really be a good call to if you're keeping out. I can hear you, and I can hear myself talking.
Yeah.
Um,
I just opened the stream for a moment actually, and it started sending. So sorry for that. So Mongo, what do you think is Mongo's play here? I mean,
if
his
if he wants to win.
no, what he's trying to do. Okay, so he has decided to go like full gendarmes here. Yeah, but he's going to get caught by this Maya here, Maya Spearman here, and FB is up pretty good, and this composition here as well is completely musketeers and dragoons and hussars. So I'm not sure. I mean, these gendarmes effectively destroy everything other than doppelsoldners and samurai, but it's not really going to give Mongo the position he has lost.
Yeah, I think he's just having some fun.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
to be honest, that's how it looks.
Yeah, otherwise, or I would say probably he's just trying to delay the Faraj push into his economy as long as possible.
But
Maybe to recover.
that's not how you do it, because you basically lose out so many resources. Like if you really want to win, what I would do is delete like those front two mills, make like another layer of walls
Yeah,
in front of your echo, like spread out a completely new FB, like get up
yeah,
7 towers.
yeah. I think Mongo is done now. He's written GG on map, so he's just having fun right now. Okay, that's GG as well.
Yeah.
So the score is 2-1 in favor of Faraj, and Faraj will progress to round of 16, uh, where his let's look at whose his opponent would be in round of 16.
So
So,
interesting to see most unit made by Mongo. I mean, pretty obviously Gendarme 550.
okay,
Uh, and Faraj most unit.
324 dragoons, which are exactly the counter units to what
Yeah,
Mongo does.
yeah. that just shows how good Faraj's unit composition was this game. Like, way lower amount of most made unit, which means he had a good mix.
Okay, so
Yeah, he did a good job.
yeah, he did. So Faraj is now in round of 16, and he would be fighting the winner of match between Asymptom 39 and Eagle Met.
Hmm.
That, okay. So I must say, actually, I'm very much surprised that Faraj won. I was thinking that Mongo was a favorite player to win this matchup here.
Hmm.
What were you thinking about that?
Yeah, I thought like they both have their individual strengths. Like if they would have played a No Rush 40 and this game instead of Orinoco, I think it might have looked